It was supposed to be a simple, joyful wedding, intimate, warm, filled with love. But no one could have predicted the moment that would bring the entire ceremony to a standstill. Right there on the aisle, Ahn Eun-jin suddenly burst into tears. And the reason wasn't nerves or a last-minute mishap. It was a powerful, deeply personal message delivered by none other than Jang Kyung's mother. Everything had been unfolding beautifully. The couple stood face to face, holding hands, their smiles steady even as their fingers trembled. Guests described the scene as emotional but calm, full of sincerity rather than spectacle. Then came the unexpected. Kyung's mother stood to speak. What people assumed would be a few kind words turned into something unforgettable. She paused, took a deep breath, and looked directly at Yoon-jin. In a quiet, emotion-filled voice, she thanked her, not just for loving her son, but for standing by him during the hardest parts of his life. She spoke of the times he felt lost, how Yoon-jin never left his side, and how her strength never demanded recognition. Those words, so raw and real, broke something open. Tears welled up in Yoon-jin's eyes. Her body trembled, and before anyone could react, she was crying openly, tears that came from somewhere deep. It wasn't staged. It wasn't planned. It was honest. Kyung gently reached for her hand, holding on tight as if to tell her without speaking, "I'm here." Around them, the room fell into a stunned silence, guests holding their breath, unsure whether to look away or take in what felt like the most authentic moment of the day. Afterward, the entire mood shifted. The ceremony wasn't just about glitz or vows anymore. It was about truth. The quiet, invisible sacrifices that had built this love story were suddenly visible to everyone. People on social media later said they cried just reading about it. Not because of the drama, but because of how real it felt. And that's what stayed with everyone. Not just that Yoon-jin cried, but why. Her tears spoke volumes, about loyalty, about years of loving without spotlight, and about finally being recognized in the most public, vulnerable way. In a world where weddings are often curated and polished, this one stood out for being undeniably human. One spontaneous message, spoken from the heart, turned a beautiful wedding into a moment that touched everyone watching.